Hi, Denise Abdale here, and I have the pleasure to be your guide about everything children's language and reading development for ages 4 to 8. I want to talk to you today about your child's brain. I was recently doing a lot of construction and renovating work in my house, and I got to think that your child's brain is kind of like doing construction work in the house. Your child, when they're born, their brain is kind of like a builder basic. You got the basic shell, the skull. You got the basic wiring, the neurons, the basic plumbing, the veins and the blood going through it, and kind of the basic interior. Okay? And you kind of like living with that for a little while. So the first couple months of life. And then things start to happen. You start thinking like, I need some change. So that's what the body's doing. It says, I need some change. So it's like it starts learning things. And as it's learning things, it puts on changes. It changes the wiring. So you're like, I don't like that wiring. I want to change the wiring. So you're calling the electrician and you change the wiring. I don't like that outlet. I want a different outlet, or I want a different, I want to put it in a different place. So as it moves things around, your child learns things, the brain is creating new neurons in synapses, and it's adding on. And that's how their brain grows. And as it needs new synapses, it needs new blood vessels to feed those synapses. And then their brain grows and grows and grows as it learns new things. So it's like putting on additions to your house also. You're renovating the kitchen. You're renovating the bathroom. You didn't like the way this is. So as time they learn things. And anybody remember that movie that was on about what goes inside the head? And they had all the little different compartments and different people. And they said that, I think it was called Inside Out. And it was like all these things were going on. And they said, oh, you don't need that. Let's throw out that file. Sometimes that's what your brain feels like. You get all these file cabinets going on in your head. And you got to find things. Well, that's exactly what it's like. You're trying to figure out when you're thinking, like, where is that? And you're like, so exactly what's going on. So you have to train your brain, is what actually is happening. You're training your brain. Your child has to train their brain how to remember things, how to read, how to recognize sight words. And the way they do that is that you have to spend time with your child recognizing things, looking things up in a book. So as you're sitting there reading with your child a story and you're pointing at the words, they recognize the sight words. As you're reading the story, they recognize the rhythm of the words. So if you skip over a word, your kid's going to go, you missed something, mommy. You missed something, daddy. That's not the way it goes. So you do that on purpose a lot of times to make sure to see if they remember what the story was about. And as you're reading the story along, ask them questions. Like, what happens next? I forget. And they will tell you what happens next in the story. Or saying, what happens? I forget, Or what does that word mean? Do you know what that means? That's what you do. Sometimes it helps to put little index cards with the words on things, like next to the clock, or next to the oven, or next to the chair. And they learn sight words that way. We do that when we do in foreign language class. I remember in high school, they used to put index cards next to things. So as we were walking around the room in class, as you're just sitting there passively, you're looking up and you see the word for clock, the word for desk, the word for chair, the word for blackboard, the word for chalk, eraser, so window, door. So you would know what things were passively. You were just absorbing it through osmosis by just seeing it every day. It was there. So you can do the same thing with your child. You just sit there and they would learn what the words were, the sight words, by just looking around their room, around the house, and seeing these little index cards with the sight words on them. So that's something very passive and easily you can do to help your child. You just point it like, look, window. And you point to the window, and you point to the word. Chair. And you have the word chair taped to the back of their chair. Very simple. Plate, fork, knife, spoon. You have pictures of them. Little flashcards with pictures and the words on them. Doesn't take a lot of time. You're not testing them. You're not drilling them. It's very passive. Just as you're sitting there with your child, coloring, even a coloring book. You have a coloring book with stuff on it. Oh, look, a girl. Girl, girl. And you can write the word girl. Or you get the coloring books that have the words on them. Or you can just write the word for them on the picture. Very simple little things you can do to help improve their language, improve their brain and their reading development while you're sitting there having fun with your child, and grow their brain and grow the synapses and their connections. Do it today. Help your child, because more they know before they get to school, the better they'll be. Have a good day.